Hi everyone, I'm Any New Province, and this week we're going to find out if Wojek Bodyguard is possibly Pauper playable. Wojek Bodyguard is a brand new common from Guilds of Ravnica, and in my opinion is Pauper's best opportunity to take advantage of the mentor mechanic. Wojek Bodyguard costs 2 and a red for a 3/3, and it has the mentor ability, which says whenever this creature attacks, put a +1/+1 counter on target attacking creature with less power than Wojek Bodyguard. It felt obvious to me that mentor is all about being aggressive. It even has attacking in its reminder text, so I built a red deck win style deck around Wojek Bodyguard to take advantage of the mentor ability. I didn't want to just take an established red deck wins shell and jam Wojek Bodyguard into it. I already know that that can be a dangerous thing to do. Decks are powerful and have set lists for a reason. That's why I decided to focus in on what makes Wojek Bodyguard unique, in that it's a human soldier, and I built a mono red human tribal aggro deck. Before I get into the rest of the deck tech, I just want to remind you that you can like the video or subscribe to the channel down below. I'd seriously appreciate it. It's a great way to let me know you're enjoying everything, and it really encourages me to keep making great Pauper content. All right, let's get into mono red humans. What's our payoff for humans, you ask? Well, it isn't perfect 5-color mana like it is in Modern. It's this one card, Riot Ringleader, which costs 2 and a red for a 2/2, and whenever it attacks human creatures you control, get +1/+0 until end of turn. Having an anthem on a stick is no joke, and while we'd like that +1/+1 to stick around like it does when Wojek Bodyguard puts a counter on a creature, being able to give creatures +1/+0 every turn is a huge advantage. The first package of our deck is human-centric, although it's present in any red deck wins list because of how powerful it is. These are our pseudo-free spells. First, we have Burning Tree Emissary, which costs 2 Gruul hybrid mana for a 2/2 human shaman, and when it enters the battlefield, you add red-green to your mana pool. Being able to chain these creatures together on turn 2 is insane, and the rest of our creatures aren't very expensive, so usually you can go Burning Tree Emissary, 2-drop, and even start attacking your opponent right away. We're also running Mutagenic Growth, a very powerful pump spell to help us interact with our opponent's removal first thing. Mutagenic Growth costs 1 green Phyrexian mana, but will usually pay 2 life for it, and it gives target creature +2/+2 until end of turn at instant speed. Next up are our 1-drops, starting with a very spicy inclusion in Kolaghan Stormsinger. It costs 1 red mana for a 1/1 human shaman with haste and megamorph. Megamorph means you can cast Kolaghan Stormsinger face down for 3 mana. It comes down as a 2/2 colorless creature without any converted mana cost. At any time, you can pay red to flip Kolaghan Stormsinger over, put a +1/+1 counter on it, and keep using it. Stormsinger also has an interesting ability. When it's turned face up, target creature gains haste until end of turn. This is pretty cool because some of our creatures come down very big and we'd like to attack with them right away. If we have a face down Kolaghan Stormsinger on the battlefield, we can do just that. Our other 1-drop is the only non-human creature in the deck, but it's just too good not to include. It's Goblin Bushwhacker. It costs 1 red mana for a 1/1 with kicker red, which means you can pay an additional red mana as you cast Goblin Bushwhacker. When it enters the battlefield, if it was kicked, creatures you control get +1/+0 and gain haste until end of turn. Ideally, by the time you cast Goblin Bushwhacker, you've already got a board full of creatures that are getting pumped up by your ringleaders and bodyguards. This should really put the nail in our opponent's coffin. Next up are our 2/2s and some more spicy human creatures I can't wait to try out. First, we have Gorehouse Chainwalker. It costs 1 and a red for a 2/1 human warrior with the Unleash ability, which means you may have this creature enter the battlefield with a +1/+1 counter on it. It can't block as long as it has a +1/+1 counter. While our deck does have a bit of reach that I'll get into later, it doesn't have a lot of evasion. We need creatures like Gorehouse Chainwalker that come down with 3 power and can attack through Seagate Oracles, Augur of Bolas's, or even trade with Core Skyfishers. Next up is Keldon Marauders, and while it doesn't look like it, it's also a human. It costs 1 and a red for a 3/3 with Vanishing 2, which means Keldon Marauders enters the battlefield with 2 time counters on it. At the beginning of your upkeep, you remove a time counter from it. When the last is removed, you have to sacrifice it. That's okay, because when it enters or leaves the battlefield, it deals 1 damage to your opponent. We're usually only ever going to get 1 attack in with our Keldon Marauders, but we have ways of giving it haste, so so sometimes we will get to attack with this big 3/3 twice, which is awesome. Our last creature is Valley Dasher. It costs 1 and a red for a 2/2 with haste and attacks each combat if able. The rest of our deck is nothing but good, clean burn spells because sometimes attacking your opponent every turn just isn't enough. Our burn package starts off with Lightning Bolt. It costs 1 red mana for an instant that deals 3 damage to any target. We've also got 3 copies of Reckless Abandon, which costs 1 red mana for a sorcery, and as an additional cost to cast it, you have to sacrifice a creature. That's okay though, sometimes Keldon Marauders is going to get sacrificed anyway, we'll just sacrifice that to Reckless Abandon. It deals 4 damage to any target. Finally, our last non-land card is Fire Blast, which costs 4 red for an instant, but you can sacrifice 2 mountains rather than pay this spell's mana cost, and often we will. Fire Blast deals 4 damage to any target. For our mana base, we just have 2 non-basics in Forgotten Caves. They're cycling lands, so we can pay 1 red and pitch them when we're trying to top deck that lethal burn spell. We've also got just 16 untapped mountains to start playing our 1-drops and attacking our opponent right away. Alright, let's have a look at our sideboard. We have 3 copies of Gut Shot for shooting fairies out of the sky so that they can't counter our creatures. We have 3 copies of Electrickery for wrathing the board of X1s. We have 2 copies of Dead and Gone because they're pretty good at bouncing Gurmag Anglers or just killing a creature we don't want on board. We have 3 copies of Smash to Smithereens to blow up Affinity and Boros Monarch's lands while promoting some damage to their face. We have 2 copies of Flaring Pain to go up against all of those Prismatic Strands and Moments Peace decks, and we have 2 copies of Hearth Charm, which is a really versatile sideboard card, and it can even be an anthem to make us faster in the aggro mirror. And there you have it, mono red humans. We're going to take this deck into a league at twitch.tv/anynewprovince this Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Atlantic time. We're there every Tuesday night playing possibly Pauper playable decks. Before I go, I just want to remind you that you can like the video or subscribe to the channel down below. I'd seriously appreciate it. It's a great way to let me know you've enjoyed everything, and it really encourages me to keep making great Pauper content. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this deck tech, and hopefully I'll see you on Tuesday night.